Game Pass in 2023 is going to be the biggest we've ever seen. We have the best 30 games to check out. If you guys want a huge discount on Game Pass, I've partnered with Xbox to get you guys an awesome sale. Check the link below and head to my website. With that, let's start with Wolong Fallen Dynasty. Now, this is an upcoming action RPG title where you assume the role of a malicious soldier fighting for survival in a dark fantasy world filled with evil demons and colossal monsters. Now, unlike some other Souls-likes, Wolong Fallen Dynasty seems to offer much smoother and more flexible combat system that is going to be both forgiving and very impactful. Developed by Team Ninja, Wolong has come a long way since the beta release of the game with many great improvements, making the game really promising. And although these changes have made the game somewhat less difficult than what most of us Souls-like fans are used to, it feels great to finally have a game that pretty much everyone can enjoy. Fallen Dynasty is set to release on Xbox Game Pass this March. So when it comes to strategy games, there's no other title that comes close to the Age of Empires series, and if you want to experience the best of what this series has to offer, Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is going to be the way to go, and it's going to come packed with all the goodness of this long-running franchise with some quality of life improvements that makes everything much better. The Definitive Edition offers 4 new civilizations, 3 campaigns, new game modes, fully remastered soundtracks, and stunning 4K graphics that are really going to immerse you in the historic battles of mankind. And if you haven't had enough of the single player, it's going to also offer exciting co-op modes to let you conquer the world with the help of your friends. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is set to come to Game Pass on the 21st of February. So with 2023 just around the corner, we're going to be closing in on one of the most epic battles in the lands of Minecraft. The piglins from the underworld have decided to wreak havoc on the lush green lands of your planet, and it's now up to you to lead the residents of the overworld in this epic showdown of survival. Minecraft Legends is an upcoming action strategy game that lets you experience your favorite title in a really refreshing and new way. You'll be fighting epic tactical battles against other armies while defending your village, fight against or join forces with your friends to take on the enemy bases as you fend off the invasion of the evil piglins, and Minecraft Legends will be making its way onto Game Pass in early 2023. Atomic Heart is yet another epic looking action adventure shooter coming to Game Pass next year, and honestly guys, it's been on my radar for some time. With a utopian sci-fi setting, the game features a world overtaken by deadly and super strange robots. Your objective is to find out the secrets that lie behind the experiments that gave birth to these evil monstrosities, and you're going to put an end to their brutal regime. Now, the game features a visceral combat system that is both thrilling and unforgiving at the same exact time. From mutant creatures to terrifying machines, each enemy in this game is unique, and you have to adapt according to their skills and abilities. Atomic Heart looks super strange yet oddly satisfying, but I guess we'll find out more when the game drops in the spring of 2023 for Game Pass. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn has to be one of the best games coming out in 2023, and honestly, you could just tell by the looks of it. It's an upcoming action adventure RPG title that heavily focuses on both swordplay and gunplay at the exact same time. And at times when game developers seem to be busy with the idea of gods versus humans, Flintlock takes that cosmic battle to a whole new level. Playing as mankind's last hope for survival, you have to lead this final siege of humanity against the undead forces of God sent from the afterlife. Your best bet to win this war, or at least survive through it, is gunpowder and a little bit of dark magic. Everything from the combat to the visuals looks absolutely stunning, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it as soon as it drops on Game Pass. So speaking of gunplay and chaos, I can't afford not to think about Bethesda's upcoming open world shooter Redfall. It's a co-op FPS title set in a vampire-infested town of Redfall, where you get to play alone or as a team of 4 uniquely skilled characters who have sworn to get rid of these bloodlusty creatures by whatever means necessary. By the looks of the gameplay trailer, Redfall kind of reminds me of Left 4 Dead, but with more of a chaotic and supernatural twist. And since it's coming from the developer Arcane Austin, I do expect to see a ton of weapons and upgrades for the ultimate shooting experience. Redfall was initially slated for 2022, but since it's been pushed back to the first half of 2023, you can bet that this will be one of the Game Pass highlights for this upcoming year. But since we are on the topic of Bethesda, it's only fair that we talk about their next inline RPG title, Starfield. According to the developers, it's going to be Bethesda's most ambitious project since Skyrim. Speaking of which, Starfield is also expected to be much bigger than Skyrim in terms of the sheer world size. Set in the year 2330, the game has you exploring the vast universe and life beyond beyond our solar system. Starfield first came to the surface all the way back in 2018, with only a few tidbits from Bethesda the following years, now up until recently. So as far as we know, Starfield, guys, is going to be massive, with over 1,000 different planets, a very detailed character creation, tons of exploring, tons of crafting, and a whole lot more. Of course, I think it will have a lot of significant similarities with Skyrim and Bethesda's previous RPGs, but guys, this is one to watch for and might be one of the best games to release in 2023, period. And the good thing is, it'll be hitting Game Pass as well. The Persona series has been out and around now for about 25 years, and to celebrate their 25th anniversary, publisher Atlus decided to port 3 Persona games to next-gen consoles, including Xbox. But what's more exciting is that Persona 3 Portable will also be coming to Game Pass in January, with Persona Portable 3, which is the remastered version of the PSP title that dropped a long time ago. This version hitting Game Pass comes with remastered visuals, smoother gameplay, and lots of quality of life features, and the game's all about taking down powerful shadows as a high school student, packed with memorable stories and some very great quality turn-based combat and excellent RPG mechanics that you're used to with the Persona series. Now, the other Persona title on this list is also making its way onto Game Pass next year, and that's Persona 4 Golden. This game has a massive fan base and tons of overwhelmingly positive reviews from both players and critics alike. Persona 4 Golden offers everything from a compelling story to stunningly gorgeous art, and of course the unforgettable characters that made the game stand out from the rest of the series. If you guys haven't played this masterpiece of a JRPG title, I think you should absolutely give it a go. It's one of the few games that I have beaten that is a JRPG, and honestly, it's one that is definitely more modernized with all the next-gen consoles. Persona 4 Golden is set to come to Game Pass this January in 2023, and is one I absolutely recommend for all of you to try out. The Forza series next in line title is Forza Motorsport, and it's been really making headlines in the gaming world for its absolutely stunning visuals, brand new next-gen features, and luckily we got to see more than just a teaser trailer for this at the Xbox Game Showcase. It literally gave me chills watching this. But besides the ultra realistic looks, Turn 10 Studios has also overhauled the vehicle physics to make it feel authentic and lifelike. The other thing that seems to be making its way to Forza Motorsport is the dynamic time of day, which will be featured in every track, like the weather system. Besides these changes, there's also going to be some new additions to the game, including racetracks, exotic new cars, improved lighting, and a lot more. We still don't have a fixed release date, however, it is expected to come out the spring of 2023 and will be hitting Game Pass as well. It's time to spice things up with some epic anime style fighting with Guilty Gear Strive. This critically acclaimed action-packed fighting title has received a ton of overwhelmingly positive reviews from players all around the world, and for very good reasons. Strive offers a stunningly gorgeous combination of 2D and 3D graphics with super fluid combat animations and very impactful visual effects. But besides the visuals, Strive also features an intense fighting experience with an immersive soundtrack and very rewarding gameplay. Starting with a roster of 15 unique characters, each with their own stories, the game keeps you hooked on the screen for hours of thrilling gameplay. Guilty Gear Strive is all set to come out for Game Pass sometime during the spring of 2023. So the planet of Lana is one of the only platformers on this list, and deservingly so. I've been following this game for quite some time now, and it's really come a long way. It's a puzzle platformer that puts you in the shoes of a young girl who embarks on a wild journey along with her loyal companion through her gorgeous planet to keep it safe. But doing so won't be easy, as her once peaceful planet has slowly been turning into something entirely different. Strange machines have taken over, and it's now up to her to find a solution and put an end to this menace. Despite the post-apocalyptic touch, Planet of Lana is a relaxing cinematic adventure filled with exciting puzzles and gorgeous landscapes. This will definitely be worth your time when it hits Game Pass in 2023. So Valheim took the whole gaming world by storm when it came back out in 2021, and this brutal yet reasonable survival title set in a medieval era has offered a refreshing new twist to the survival genre by introducing the Vikings culture to that mix that attracted a lot of players from all around the world. Coming from the developer Iron Gate, Valheim featured everything that we have grown to love about the survival genre. It allows you to play with up to 10 players in a procedurally generated world filled with mythical creatures from Norse mythology, from also resource gathering in the game to crafting to even building your own houses. Valheim offers offers you a lot in terms of content, and you can enjoy this all for free when it does drop in Game Pass in 2023 on Xbox consoles. I really feel like this list would be incomplete without some kind of farming simulator in it, and I have the perfect one for you. Lightyear Frontier is an open world farming adventure set on a remote planet located somewhere in space where you get to plant, grow, and harvest alien crops with powerful machines. You can decide to take on this adventure alone, or you can tag along with 3 up to players in a very unknown world. You'll be collecting resources, uncovering secrets, discovering new biomes, carrying out research, and even befriending friendly neighbors to share the secrets of life. Lightyear Frontier is a peaceful adventure with tons of exciting content that's really going to keep you hooked for a long time. There's no fixed release date for this one. Lightyear Frontier is expected to come out sometime though in the spring of 2023 for Game Pass. Replaced is yet another epic looking action platformer that I've been following for quite some time. Set in a sci-fi retro futuristic world, Replaced has you playing as a powerful artificial intelligence forcefully trapped inside a human body. The game heavily focuses on cinematic platforming with intense free flow combat, and it's one of the few games that makes such a good use of retro style pixel art visuals to create this dark early 80s cyberpunk environment. It goes pretty well with a deep rooted evil in the city that has corrupted the souls of the living with greed for power. However, the slick combat moves and fluid animation is where this game is truly shining the brightest, and it's one that I'm excited to hit Game Pass in 2023. The Last Case of Benedict Fox is going to be one of the best Metroidvania games coming to Game Pass in 2023. It's an action-adventure title that puts you in the shoes of a self-proclaimed detective who uses his unholy alliance with a demon to read the minds of the recently deceased to find clues that could help uncover the secrets behind their mysterious death. It's really an unsettling journey through the dark realms full of secrets, forbidden rituals, and gruesome murders. I don't know about you guys, but there's something about the dark and nightmarish environments that really fascinates me about this game. The Last Case of Benedict Fox offers intricately designed labyrinths, very elaborate puzzles that take a lot more than just the platforming skills to get through the game. This one is set for Game Pass in 2023. Next up on the list, we have yet another highly anticipated game coming from the developer studio Wildcard. Arc 2 is an open world action survival game set in a primal world where you assume the role of a legendary hero, Santiago, as he seeks to protect his daughter Mika from the horrors of this unforgiving world. And while the sequel features significant similarities to the original game, a lot has changed in terms of the gameplay experience, with pretty much every single aspect of the game redesigned from the ground up. And with that, we can also expect to see some changes to the already immersive Souls-like combat, the enemy AI with the dinosaurs, character progression, building, and a lot more. And of course, the famed survival multiplayer game that we're all used to with the franchise will continue to be a main focus on top of the new single player experience. And the best part about all this with Arc 2, it's going to be staying on Game Pass for 3 years according to a deal with Microsoft. So coming from the gameplay designer of Limbo and Inside, Cocoon's a unique puzzle adventure that has you leaping between worlds that simply fit into small orbs that you can carry around. It's a super unique take on the puzzle adventure genre that features intricate puzzles and a masterpiece of world design. Each world offers unique and diverse biomes with alien machinery, massive industrial structures, and biomechanical devices all connected to one another by means that are unknown. But besides solving puzzles, Cocoon also has you fighting strange monsters with unique skills and abilities in fierce battles. And while you're at it, you can use those orbs from other worlds to unlock special abilities. This game has a lot going on, and it's a puzzle game that's one to look forward to for Game Pass in 2023. So our next game, we have Ereban Shadow Legacy, a fast-paced action-adventure game that puts you in the shoes of a stealthy assassin, Ayana, as she embarks on a wild journey to uncover the truth behind her existence and disappearance of her kind. But doing so won't be an easy task, as this city is corrupted to the core with shady mega corporations all running through the streets. However, Ayana has some supernatural tricks up her sleeve that allow her to move like a shadow and slay her enemies from the darkness with a swift move. But it's up to you on whose life is worth taking and whose is worth sparing. Ereban Shadow Legacy doesn't have a fixed date yet, but it's expected to come out to Game Pass sometime next year. And that comes now with S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 Heart of Chernobyl, and I'm pretty sure many of you have been waiting for this dark post-apocalyptic survival title to come out like I have, but it seems like developer GSC Game World wants to take their time and make sure the game is ready to drop when it's ready. Now, for those who don't know about this game, S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is an open world survival title set in the Chernobyl exclusion dungeon zone that's long been a major attraction for people who want to discover the hidden fortune of this dangerous wasteland. You play as one of the lone stalkers trying to uncover the secrets of this mysterious land, and you fight for survival against really gruesome monsters and really greedy agents. It's a very fascinating series, one that I've gotten to love and enjoy myself, and I'm excited that this hits Game Pass sometime in 2023. So a game that we have to add on this list is Capcom's excellent franchise, and it's making its way onto Game Pass this early January with Monster Hunter Rise. It's the 6th main entry to the long-running series that lets you explore a variety of new maps to hunt down every single monster you see. This game's inspired by Japanese folklore. Monster Hunter Rise pits you against a variety of new and old ferocious monsters and colossal beasts. You become a lone warrior, or you can tag along with other players in multiplayer quests to take on more challenging tasks with your 4-player squad. And if you guys love action RPGs and you love collecting and crafting and epic boss-like fights with insanely big monsters, you simply can't go wrong with Monster Hunter Rise. And this one's coming with next-gen Xbox support. It will have 4K 60 FPS. I have a whole different YouTube channel dedicated to the franchise State of Decay there on the screen, so I would be remiss not to add the newest entry headed to Xbox at a time unknown. To this day, the State of Decay franchise is still one of the best single-player post-apocalyptic zombie games on the market because it does a great job tackling survival with looting and just personal adventure. Not much is known about State of Decay 3, except that we'll see more weather like snowy regions, potentially new threats in zombie wolves and zombie deers, as well as many hints from the developers that the newest entry will be taking a lot of good stuff from previous games. Nobody in the world is probably more hyped for State of Decay 3, and I do think it'll end up being one of Xbox's biggest first-party titles when it finally releases onto Game Pass. And it's now time to gear up and talk about one of the most horrifying entries for the year 2023, developed by Gun Interactive. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an upcoming horror survival title based on the iconic 1974's horror film, and at first glance, Texas Chainsaw Massacre gives these subtle Dead by Daylight vibes with very similar gameplay elements. However, when you dive a little deeper into the game, you're gonna find quite a lot of changes here. Instead of the game pitching 4 players against a single serial murderer, Texas Chainsaw Massacre has you playing as 4 victims who are trying to escape from the evil clutches of 3 killers. Unlike any other horror game, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a gorgeous looking video game with the sun shining, the crops swaying, the birds singing, and bam, suddenly you hear this chainsaw roaring close to you and you are now on the run for your life. However, there's still a lot that we don't know about this game. That includes also an exact release date, but I do expect to see it on Game Pass in 2023. Now, Lies of P is one of the most epic looking entries for 2023, and for very good reasons. The game certainly takes a lot of inspiration from the Bloodborne title, and I can even go as almost maybe calling it like a Bloodborne spin-off that focuses instead on Pinocchio's adventures with a much darker setting. I wouldn't be wrong if I did that, but then again, if we look at the combat, it's much more fast-paced and impactful. You get a number of different weapons to play around with as you fight packs of enemies trying to hunt you down. As far as the story of the game's concerned, Lies of P seems to focus on a reimagined version of the classic Pinocchio story, where he desperately wants to become a human in a world filled with unspeakable horrors. Lies of P is set in the fallen city of Krat, a once peaceful city now sprawling with grotesque monstrosities. The game doesn't really have a fixed release date yet, but it is set to come out sometime in 2023 for Game Pass. One of my upcoming favorite games on this list has to be Senua Saga's Hellblade 2. This is an action-adventure game developed by Ninja Theory and published by Xbox Game Studios. It's a much-awaited sequel to the original Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, which released all the way back in 2017 and has been one of my favorite games of the past 10 years. The sequel, though, is expected to feature similar gameplay elements to the original, including combat, puzzle solving, exploration, and a lot more. And for those who don't know, the game follows the story of Senua, a Celtic warrior who embarks on a journey through a Viking underworld in order to save the soul of her lover. Hellblade 2 continues the adventure of Senua through the myth and the madness of this dark world, and I'm sure just like its predecessor, this sequel will build on the realistic depiction of the mental health issues and the use of binaural audio to create an immersive and emotional experience for the players. We still don't have any release date for the game, but it is expected to come out sometime in 2023 and is going to be a gem of a game for Game Pass. So I'm sure many of you still remember the popular Fable series that supposedly came to an end back in 2010 with Fable 3, but it seems it wasn't the end, as Playground, the developer behind the beloved Forza Horizon series, has taken the reins to develop Fable 4, essentially a reboot of the original game. Now, as far as we know, Fable 4, or just the game Fable, is going to be yet another action-adventure RPG title set in a vast open world, and since it's coming from Playground, we can definitely expect it to be a stunningly gorgeous game with lots of attention to every small detail. We still don't have much on the game to talk about except for the reveal trailer that shows a world full of fairies, magic, and swords, and of course the massive wilderness. There's no release date for Fable, and I'm not sure if it's even coming out in 2023, but I still wanted to add it because it's one of my most anticipated Game Pass games coming to Xbox consoles. So Fable might be some time away, but there's yet another epic looking action RPG set in a fairy tale world that's set for release in 2023, and I'm talking about the game Ravenlok, an action-packed adventure game that puts you in the shoes of a young girl who finds herself literally pulled into a fantasy realm full of darkness. But in order for her to find herself back to reality, she has to take on evil forces of darkness led by the Caterpillar Queen. The game focuses on exploration and action with real-time combat that lets you take on wild, bewitching beasts and colossal bosses in an arena-based battles, and I absolutely love the unique 3D pixel art, which makes the game a lot more immersive. So it does seem like we're getting our fair share of horror games this year, and Amnesia is going to be one of them. Coming from developer Frictional Games, Amnesia The Bunker is a first-person horror survival game that puts you in the shoes of a French soldier, Henry Clement, as he tries to escape the dark, terrifying World War I bunker with only one bullet left in his revolver. Now, the game has you scavenging for resources as you explore a semi-open world environment. You'll be solving puzzles and looking for clues as you try to find your way out of the hellhole, and Amnesia games have been famous in having a reputation for really hitting that right balance between puzzle solving and survival, and if the previous entries are anything to go by, this game will be filled with constant dread and a subtle feeling of helplessness that will have you making irrational decisions. We will know for sure how this game plays out when it hits Game Pass in March 2023. Our next game is Everwild, and this is an upcoming action-adventure game coming from the developer of popular games like GoldenEye, Banjo-Kazooie, and the more recently Sea of Thieves. First announced all the way back in 2019, Everwild has pretty much remained under wraps with not a lot of information given out by the devs, which is totally fair since they have their hands full with the game Sea of Thieves. However, they did give us a gorgeous looking trailer, and it goes on to show just how beautiful the game would look with the painterly representation of nature. And being an adventure game, Everwild will feature a variety of different creatures that the player will interact with as they explore this vast world. However, the action part of this game is yet to be discovered, as we haven't seen any fights in the game so far or a whole lot of gameplay. Either way, Everwild might come out by the end of the year in 2023 or maybe even early 2024 for Game Pass. We have one of the most anticipated games finally making its way onto Game Pass in Hollow Knight: Silksong. This is the sequel to one of the greatest hits of the gaming industry, and in this game you assume the role of a hornet as she journeys through a vast interconnected world filled with deadly enemies, challenging bosses, hidden secrets, and tons of fun. As you journey through this gorgeous yet mysterious world, you'll encounter a wide variety of enemies, each with their own unique attack patterns and behaviors. You'll be forced to use all your skills and agility to overcome them, and as you try to take them down. With its immersive gameplay and stunningly hand-drawn visuals, Hollow Knight: Silksong is a must-play for fans of the original Hollow Knight and even newcomers alike. So Obsidian seems to be taking full swing at the gaming market. Having only just released Grounded and Pentiment, the game studio is at it once again with Outerworlds 2, a much anticipated sequel to the original fan favorite RPG, and guys, one of my favorites that I've beaten recently. And while there's not much information about this game yet, it's possible Obsidian has been working on it since 2019. With that said, we are still not sure if the game will drop soon, but we do have chunks of information to talk about. According to the developers, the Outerworlds 2 will have the players exploring a new star system with a completely different crew to tag along with. We might even have to bid farewell to some of our favorite original characters from the game. Now, a big question is, will there be different gameplay mechanics? It's really hard to say at this point, but there's going to be, I think, a lot of improvements and a lot of fun new content to really keep players hooked. And as a guy who just finished the original game months ago, this has quickly become one of my most anticipated games for a newer franchise that I think, in my opinion, is quite a bit underrated. Either way, I'm excited for Outerworlds 2 when it finally drops on Game Pass at some point. And with that, guys, check out the video on the screen for the list of the best Game Pass games you can play today in 2023.